This is Mitch, and welcome to the 1000houses.com podcast. I'm here with Nate Woodbury, and we're going to be talking about YouTube marketing. This is a topic very near and dear to me because I always seem to get my ass kicked in the digital realm with all these people that are trying to promote me and push me into the top, and I never really have much luck with it. Not sure if I don't understand it or if I don't stay in the game long enough to see the rewards or if I just hired a bunch of jerks. So today we're going to get some pointers on YouTube marketing, social media marketing, and how it might benefit you and how you might go about it. At least get you the basics on it, because there's no doubt today we have digital calling cards or people are checking us out digitally. There's no way around it. I tell everybody, and even in my own case, you may not have to have the most elaborate website in the world because you're really getting your traffic from there, but you better have one, at least for credibility's sake, because the first thing everyone's going to do is start creeping on you and trying to figure out who you are, whether you're a roofer or a sheetrocker or a house flipper or whatever. They're looking to see if this guy's real and what kind of reputation he has and all that stuff. So I got to pay homage to my sponsor real quick. So livecom.com. Please go to livecom.com. That's livecom.com. Now, in a nutshell, it's mass texting, but you buy phone numbers there. They're about $2 a month. You get one free with your account, and every phone number comes with a text distribution list, and it starts to collect phone numbers from every cell phone that ever calls your livecom.com phone number. You can label these numbers. You can build lists like crazy. I happen to have about 15 houses on the market on any given day. I'm averaging in the last 300 houses, 9 days on the market and 12% down because I sell my houses with seller finance. That's because I have 24,000 people that have called my owner finance signs and have refused to opt out, even though I give them a chance often. So whenever I have a new house, I just hit 24,000 people for like 2 cents a piece. This is a bullseye right between the eyes. They've called, they're interested, they won't opt out, even though I send them text messages telling them, if you're not interested anymore, get off this list. And for 2 cents, I can tell them I have a new house for sale, and that's how it works. But there are so many other ways to use this product. Check out livecom.com, livecom.com. All right, I paid the bills. And Nate, how are you doing today?
You're doing very well. This is starting out to be a great day.
We're good. Maybe we can up the bar for everybody that comes after us. Okay. Where are you sitting physically? Where are you at physically?
I'm in a city of Lehi, Utah.
Lehi, Utah. Is that close to Salt Lake?
Yeah, about 20, 30 minutes away.
Okay, cool. I love Utah. Beautiful place. They have what is it, Zion National Park? I got stuck there one time. I got snowed in a van. I thought I was going to die. Luckily,
wow.
My mama had packed a little survival kit for me with candles and food, and they found me in about a day. They didn't have.
Wow.
It wasn't, but I was whited out, and I just had to pull over, and I was leaving my truck running till it was going to run out of gas, and it never ran out of gas, and someone found me. So.
In a weather like that, you probably didn't get to see the sights, but man, the national parks in Utah are quite amazing.
They are. I also want to go to Lake Powell is on my bucket list. I want to have a boathouse for 2 or 3 days, at Lake Powell.
Yeah.
What a place. All right. So give us a little bit of your background. Catch us up. Who are you and how'd you get in this business of social media marketing?
All right. Well, I currently produce over a dozen different YouTube channels. And these are daily YouTube channels. I call daily 5 or more episodes per week. So it's a lot of content. And fortunately, I have a great team behind me. I have some videographers, a whole team of editors in the Philippines. And we produce YouTube channels for business owners, mostly influencers, experts, people who have expertise to share. And we make lots of how-to content. And I've got a great track record of success since I get asked to speak a lot and share my secrets, kind of pull back the curtains and share how I've done it. Because just to put some numbers to it, I've got several channels that I produce that make multiple 6 figures monthly. In fact, one channel makes 7 figures monthly. just because of the YouTube traffic. Now that's, yeah, YouTube pays us money, but that's not where the big numbers come from. We'll make 4 or 5 figures monthly from YouTube, but the lead generation from these channels, because when you build an audience, when you build a following on YouTube, they like you, they love you, they trust you, and they want to buy from you. They're wondering, okay, I love all this training, I love all this information that you've given me for free. How can I get your coaching, or how can I buy a course from you? How can I get you to help me do X, Y, Z? And they basically come to you with credit card in hand. It's like a warm referral, and so it's easy to help them out at that point.
So a video a day or some information a day, that's quite a commitment from your client too. I mean, you're committed, but your client's got to be committed as well, right? Because you can't just pull content out of your rear end,
Yeah, it's really is a huge commitment, and that was an obstacle because I figured out this formula. If you follow this formula, then I know how you'll get results on YouTube. You'll get the attention of the algorithm, so that YouTube will start to promote your content. But all my clients are business owners with extremely busy schedules. And so how in the world did I figure that out? Well, I call myself a master of efficiency. Just yesterday, I had a client, and we have another one today, flies into Utah, come to our studio. We film 20 episodes in a single day. And so that means we only have to do that once every 4 weeks. And so clients just regularly come every 4 weeks. And so it's a lot of work. It's a marathon day, but that's what I recommend is to film in batches like that.
I love that. Like, let's just get it, when you're working, marathon days go fast. I don't like marathon days when they seem like the day drags on forever. When you're engaged, you're getting things done, you have a schedule, got people around you helping you. 12, 14, 15 hours can fly by pretty fast. And it's very rewarding if you get a lot done. And it takes a taskmaster like you that knows where we're going every second to get that done. I imagine there's a lot of preparation before this. Like your client's probably you're saying, you need to give me 25 1-minute segments, or how long are these segments?
Yeah, so we make episodes average in length about 10 to 12 minutes.
Okay.
And that's when we film. And so to prepare for that, one of the great areas of expertise I have is the way to do keyword research for YouTube. And what we do is we find really long, specific questions. So in your space, it might be how to invest in real estate with no money. That's 9 words long. Or how to invest in real estate with bad credit. These are real specific questions that people are asking. And so we start there, we do that keyword research. Now I'll give you some other examples in other niches, like how to design a living room with a corner fireplace, or how to get rid of strep throat without antibiotics. So we do the research to find questions that people are actually asking. I don't make those up, but we find questions that at least have a little trickle of consistent volume, so that we know that when we make a video with that title, it'll rank on day 1 on YouTube. Even though we're just getting a trickle of traffic, we're going to rank instantly, and the YouTube algorithm is going to start seeing that we're getting good results because people watch our videos all the way to the end. Once we have those titles, then our client, this is their space. This is what they're an expert in. And so they simply just have to outline some talking points. All right, if I want to answer this question, make my episode about 10 minutes long, I'm going to introduce it this way. I've got 3 secrets I'm going to share. I'm going to share this story, and I'll wrap it up this way. That'll be 10 minutes.
And 10 minutes is not long when you're filming.
Right.
I struggle to keep a commercial under 60 seconds. It's amazing to me how fast, 60 seconds when you're trying to do a plank, for exercise is a long time. 60 seconds when you're trying to keep your content down and do a commercial with a hard stop is damn near impossible for anybody with a lot to say. And they seem so devoid of pertinent information. When you finally limit it down to 60 seconds, it's like, man, I don't know if I told anybody anything. I mean, I started to, and then I ran out of time. So 10 minutes goes pretty fast, right?
Mm-hmm. It really does. With an ad, if it's a commercial, we've been conditioned to want to keep those as short as possible. And Super Bowl ads, you'll get a 30-second or 1-minute ad that they've put like so much money into it. How do we say it all in 1 minute? On YouTube, you don't have that much pressure, and we're not selling things on YouTube. We're teaching, we're giving away value, and then at the end, we'll give a call to action. We'll say, hey, if you found value in this video, I want to give you my book for free, or hey, I've got a free resource, or I'm putting on a masterclass. Just click the link below, and you can find out more. And so, that's how they turn into leads. But it's creating the content for 10 minutes and keeping people's attention for that 10 minutes is pretty easy and very common on YouTube.
Okay, so, and you have a giveaway, and one of those giveaways is the keyword research mini course. And so I guess I'm talking to the audience now directly. So listen up, guys. Nate's very giving, and he has the same philosophy I do. I'll tell you everything I know, and if you want to go do it yourself, go ahead. But I'm smart enough to know, and Nate's smart enough to know, that there's a whole bunch of people out there that will say, I don't want to become an expert in this. I'm an expert in that, and I'm going to stay over in that, and I don't want to be over here, so I'm going to hire Nate and his company. Or I want him to coach me and get me through the learning curve on this. So he gives a lot of information away for free. I want you to go to 1000houses.com/go YouTube and check out the keyword research mini course program. And you're also developing right now, and of course this podcast won't go out for a few weeks, so I think you'll have time to get it done, a YouTube masterclass, right?
Yeah,
tell us about that.
Well, before the pandemic, I used to speak a lot on stages in public, and so that's really what my masterclass is. It's the same presentation that people have me come in and speak, and that's where I pull back the curtains and show all the steps of this formula, how to get results. And in the masterclass, I don't sell anything. I pull back the curtains and show you what you need to do. And literally, if you walk away and implement it, you'll get results. But yes, I do have a lot of people that become my clients after hearing me present this, because they come to me and say, all right, I want to do it. I see the strategy, but I need somebody to do it for me. And so that's why I do profit in my business. I'm very successful. But again, on the masterclass, I actually don't sell.
Yeah. Okay. So again, go to 1000houses.com/go YouTube and check out the keyword research mini course and the YouTube masterclass. And there'll be all kinds of other things over there. You'll have information on how to get a hold of Nate directly, or I don't know, whatever we think's important, it'll be over there. And you can not have to memorize any of this stuff or write it down. If you can just remember, go YouTube. I think if you're a regular listener to this podcast, it's 1000houses.com /something. So go YouTube will get you there. So what's some of the common mistakes people make when they're trying to rank with YouTube?
Yeah, that's a really good question. A lot of people are intimidated by the technology, or they want everything to be perfect before they get started. And so that's something that really holds a lot of people back. And the reality is, we all know we've got to start somewhere. If you find good YouTube channels that you like, I challenge you to go back and look at what they were like on video when they started. YouTube makes it really easy to look back at, let's say they started 7 years ago. You compare what their videos are like today to 7 years ago, and it's hilarious. If you want to dig and find some of my early videos, it's quite embarrassing. I'll tell you just a quick example. So I'm a pretty reserved guy, but you compare what I am now on audio or video to like, we'll just say 7 years ago or 10 years ago. Holy cow. I remember I pulled out the camera and I was making a promo video. It was about a 3-minute long promo video. And I said, all right, I'm going to be high energy. I'm going to, I kind of pumped myself up. I hit record and I recorded this video. Afterwards, I'm watching it and I'm sitting there perfectly still, just talking like monotone, talking like this. And I'm like, that's me in high energy. What? It's really funny. So the real truth is, in your pocket or in your purse right now, you've got an amazing camera, and all you have to do, turn it in landscape mode and hit record and talk to the camera and share your expertise, that's a great place to start. People like content like that, where you're being genuine, you're being authentic. And so, your question was what holds people back? People think that that's not going to cut it, but that will actually get you off to a great start.
Well, and people to a certain extent like real life. When the phone rings in the background or the dog barks, I mean, hey, sorry, man, I'm living a real life here, and I'm trying to get this information to you, despite the fact that I got a crying baby back here that I really probably need to go take care of, but I'm doing the best I can. I think people appreciate that, right? I mean, there's a certain amount, wouldn't want it to happen every day or every minute, but when something comes up, it's just like, well, shit happens. I'm sorry. My set fell over. Sorry.
Yeah, the reality is it makes people more relatable. People tend to resonate more. As we've been into this age of social media for a short while now, a decade, whatever, we've kind of gotten accustomed to understanding that this polished image that we see of everybody on social media isn't reality. And when we can show, it's like there's a trend lately of women who post a picture of themselves without makeup and say, hey, here's the real me. I don't know. It's kind of like this rebellion against the perfection. But yeah, if there's something funny that happens, it's a way of kind of re-engaging people's attention in the video, and it's great to leave that stuff in your episode.
Well, cool. And I'm glad to hear you say your iPhone's good enough. You don't have to hire a bunch of professional and go buy a bunch of professional equipment and try to figure out how to use all that. For me, the iPhone's complicated enough. I don't need anything more complicated than that because I'm just figuring out how to use all that. But I was born in a generation where there wasn't even a computer at my school, I don't think, unless it was at the home office. And I've been chasing that technology bus since the day I graduated, and I've always been like 10 feet behind it, which is why it's so important for me to meet people like you, because there's no real super need for me to learn it from the top to the bottom if I have access to people like you that are willing for a price to handle it for me. I mean, I make good money doing what I do. I don't need to save a handful of bucks and try to add another expert asterisk next to my name with social media. So when you're going to analyze a business or someone comes to you as a prospect, how do you size up if you're for them? And you know what I mean?
Yeah. So if I'm looking at a business and I'm saying, okay, is YouTube a good fit for you in helping you generate leads for your business? There are multiple strategies, but the one that I found that is just so powerful is for experts. So, I know a lot of people, everyone listening to this has an expertise in something, because we've all had experiences, we've all learned lessons, and we all have advice to share. We all have answers to questions. And so, that's the criteria is I look for people who are experts. When I look at a business, there are three different areas. You can break a business simply into three different parts of your business. You've got the traffic, where do customers come from? You've got the marketing or the sales, and that's where your leads get converted into customers. And then you've got fulfillment. So you've got to have a great fulfillment system to keep your customers happy, to actually deliver and provide them value. And really, when experts come to me and they've got part 2 and 3 in place, they know how to take a lead and convert that. They know how to make a sale, and they know how to fulfill. They know how to deliver. And so they've got momentum in their business. Then what I can do is I can help them really leverage YouTube to grow a following and to develop tons and tons of traffic, and just start funneling leads into their funnel so that they can really exponentially grow their revenue. So we look at it, okay, what's the end goal? And I look at all the pieces in place and make sure that it's a fit.
So does podcasting fit into this well? I mean, I would imagine if someone already had a podcast or started a podcast because they wanted to increase their digital footprint and YouTube presence, that you could get a lot of information just, I like to call it double dipping. I'm doing a podcast on a subject that I'm an expert at, interviewing another expert. Certainly you could chop that 35 minutes up into a whole bunch of, useful content, right? That you could use without me maybe even having to fly to wherever you're at. You could probably get a lot of segments from, I have over, I'm coming up on number 400 podcast interviews. Would a guy like me necessarily have to even go anywhere if I had that much content?
So two good questions I heard in there. The first question is that I heard was about, podcasters in general. There's kind of two main types. There's podcasters that share their own expertise. And then there's podcasters that interview other people with expertise or cool stories. Especially if you are sharing your own expertise and you've been doing it for, in your case, hundreds and hundreds of episodes, you've obviously got the expertise that a strategy like that would be awesome on YouTube. Now, what if you've got all this previously recorded content? Could you repurpose it and put it on YouTube? It's actually really hard. It's hard for two reasons. From a podcast that's recorded for audio only, it is hard to repackage it and make it so that it's appealing and so that it's what the YouTube algorithm and what YouTube viewers are looking for.
Okay, this podcast is not audio only. All right.
Okay, so yeah, well let me speak to that then, because I mean you and I are talking, through Zoom where we can see each other's eyes through the camera. But you and I are talking to each other if we had a separate episode where we're talking to the lens and we're talking specifically to a viewer, people sense that. And so instead of me talking to you, I'd want to talk to the person who is watching the video specific. So that's one key difference.
Okay, because I do solo casts. I call them, my office and I, we call them solo casts, where I'm just going to go on and discuss a topic myself. And so there's, and I could,
and that could really work well. Doing it that way could work really well. The other question you asked is, could you take a longer piece of content, say it's 40 minutes, and cut it into 4 10-minute episodes? That's actually really hard too, because you need to do the keyword research before you film to know what to title your video. And so here's a way that you could make it work. If you did the keyword research first and had 4 different questions that, like we talked about, like those long phrases, how to invest in real estate with no money and how to get rid of strep throat without antibiotics. And then you make your podcast episode where you go through and you answer the first question for 10 minutes, the second question for 10 minutes. So you could make one longer podcast episode and turn that into 4 YouTube episodes. I mean, that's a strategy that could work.
Wow. So you just gave me an idea for my own podcast. Is I should be researching these people, researching the topic, and then have someone do a massive keyword search for me. So I should have the thing titled before I even start, so I can start to use those words in my speech and in the labeling, right? Mm-hmm. That's a great.
Yeah. And the magic of this, like the advantage of YouTube is twofold. YouTube has an amazing search engine. And so people all around the world who've never heard of you before, but are asking these questions, they now find you. And that sounds obvious. We do searches on YouTube all the time, but it really works. It really works. And the other advantage to YouTube is they have a partner program, which gives them, they share ad revenue. Okay. But the benefit of that is because you have a vested interest in each other, you and YouTube will promote your content. YouTube wants your content to succeed because that's how YouTube makes money. And so like the strategy that I use, this biggest step here that we've talked about of doing the keyword research first, when you start using this strategy, it's slow going. It takes momentum to build. You've got to be consistent with it. I tell every one of my clients, the first 4 months are boring. And when we're posting 5 episodes every single week and waiting 4 months and having it be boring, but let me tell you, my client, Noelle Randall, she's actually in the real estate space too, but she does Airbnb real estate. We went 4 months and it was pretty steady. I mean, gradual little incremental growth, but at that 4 month mark, YouTube started to suggest her content to newer and newer audiences, and week after week after week, it just started to build. We got up to, on the last day of July, we got up to over 5,000 views in a single day. And then we had a spike. Every day this month, we've been over 20,000 views in a single day on our channel. And our channel's grown from like 16,000 to now 39,000 subscribers. And so it's the moral of that story is just, you got to be consistent with it. You got to plan in advance and like understand it's going to take time, but the fruit that starts coming from it, it builds so much powerful momentum. It's really beneficial for your business.
Man, that's terrific. I'm so glad you gave that case study, because you actually are inspiring me. I want to have a consult with you myself. I think I'm ready. You know, can you give me some keywords so I know what to, you know, before this episode goes up and post the name of it, can you tell me what to name this episode so we can like have the right keywords in there?
Well, we would do keyword research, and the sad truth is about podcasts, even Google as a search engine doesn't index podcasts like YouTube will index YouTube episodes. Oh. So I would say the best recommendation right now for a podcast is to create kind of like a magazine headline, you know, something that's catchy, that creates curiosity. And so, you know, how to generate thousands of leads from a simple YouTube strategy, you know, something like that would be a title to think about. Can
you just repurpose these Zoom audio video podcasts into a YouTube link?
Some people succeed with it, but sometimes you need to polish it a little bit more. The great thing about the podcast medium is people will listen for longer. We've talked about length, but you can also, you don't have to trim it as much. But on YouTube, when you've got people's visual attention, the ums and the uhs, the pauses, when we're waiting to kind of think of responses and stuff like that, on YouTube, we tend to like tighten it up. And we need to, like when we watch a TV show or an episode on Netflix, there'll be a camera change like every 3 or 5 seconds. Our minds are just used to that. And so visually, there's some editing that you want to do, like even if it's just to change the crop. So every 15 or 30 seconds, it just zooms out. And so there are some things, but you know, here I am telling you, just film it on your iPhone, but now I'm telling you to make it more complicated. So the quick answer is yes, you can do that. And then you can tweak and like make an improvement, say, is my time that I just made on this improvement worth it? Am I getting better results from it? So start where you are now, yes. And then you'll find ways to improve it over time and see if it's worth it.
Okay, so in your client, Noelle Randall, is that what you said? Uh-huh. In the Airbnb space, she went from 5,000 to like 20,000 views. Is she noticing a monetary, do you know any numbers? Like, is she noticing a monetary increase?
So yeah, she's fired up. I don't know the numbers, but she's had a huge increase in the amount of leads and inquiries that she's had for her training on real estate. I do know the numbers from her YouTube ad revenue, and for privacy, I can't share those numbers.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I wish I could, but let's just say I can say this one. In July and prior, it's just been in the hundreds of dollars per month, and now it's in the thousands. And
that's just from YouTube paying you for because you've got so many hits now. They put commercials on in your before your episodes or in the middle of your episodes, or both.
Yeah, and I can explain that in more detail if that would be helpful.
Yes, please.
YouTube, that's how YouTube makes money, is they put ads before and after and around your videos, but YouTube gives you 50% of that, 55% actually, they give you 55% of that ad revenue. So they give you most of it. You just create the videos that they put their ads next to, and every time somebody watches the ad, you get, you know, and for each single view, it's fraction of a cent. But if you get thousands of views, hundreds of thousands of views, and now millions of views, then that's when the ad revenue can really start to be significant. I'll also just kind of paint a proper picture or lay the foundation of what's realistic and expectation-wise. It took me and produce, this was adding up ad revenue for multiple YouTube channels. It took me 3 years before that became a 5-figure amount, you know, let me say a 4-figure amount. It took 2.5 years before it became a 4-figure amount, and then 3 years before it became a 5-figure amount. Prior to that, it was, you know, just a couple $100s here or there. So it takes some time to get there. And when it became significant, it was actually a very small percentage of revenue compared to the revenue that we were generating from leads.
Okay, so, but there is an upside, a little bonus. I mean, if you can get enough traffic to get their attention, you'll get a check, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, when I started this podcast, I had no expectations. It's hard to make money when you have 1 podcast or 2 archive podcasts or 3, but as it started to get up there. So, I mean, I kind of had a common sense about it. I ran really hard at first, doing 5 or 6 podcasts a week, which was hard, to try to hurry and get to at least 50. So I had some kind of presence, and people could binge on me if they wanted to. You know what I mean? People binge on Netflix, watching all the episodes in a row. I have people call me and tell me they've seen every episode I've ever done. I'm like, holy cow. Hopefully.
That's a raving fan right there. That's awesome.
I mean, hopefully you're doing this while you're flying or driving or something, because this would be a complete waste of time if you're not, you know, getting something done. How do you get anything done? I imagine it's the same way with YouTube or any of this social media. You've got to start to rack up the miles. You know, you got to start to put in the time and start to get some mass. So just a word out there to everybody. If you think you're just going to make a couple of YouTube things and see a bunch of great response, don't hold your breath. I mean, you might be one of those sensations that gets lucky on the first day and something happens that you certainly didn't plan, that everyone's interested in watching over and over again. But you know, people are trying to create that go viral video all the time on purpose. And that seems
here's an interesting thing on that point. I've never had a video go viral. And that might, what am I listening to this guy for? Well, I've had plenty of videos that have individually got millions of views, but viral means that it was so like sensational or just so exciting, or this kitten was so cute that it got shared by everybody. Okay. With educational how-to content, that just doesn't happen. It doesn't, but the YouTube algorithm promotes you to the masses. And so when you create a good video that will make YouTube money, you know, and the title that I shared earlier, how to invest in real estate with no money, that 9-word phrase, that video I produced for a guy named Chris Crone. We used to be partners on his channel until I asked him to buy me out in June of this year. But I produced that channel for 5 years. And that one video, it's probably around 6 million views now that video has had, not because it went viral, but because YouTube loved to put ads in front of it and promoted it. Now, why would we want a competitor's ad showing in front of Chris's training? Well, one, if we got paid for it. For that one video, my own personal revenue off of that video is about $150,000, but that's collectively over like 2 years. But the revenue that went to Chris was several $1 million because it generated leads for his business. So this really works.
So you guys, again, if you want to get your keyword research mini course, or you want to check out the YouTube masterclass, then go to 1000houses.com/go YouTube and check out what Nate Woodbury has to say. And you know, if you're interested and you want more information from him, all that contact information will be over there. Anything you want to say to the folks out there before maybe we wrap it up? Most of the people that are listening to us are real estate investors, new and seasoned, and probably a lot of entrepreneurs. So what would you say to them as we part?
Yeah, if YouTube, if anything that we've talked about today has kind of intrigued your mind, I'd encourage you to continue to kind of dig and find out more if YouTube's a good fit for you, because compared to any other social platform out there, from Facebook to LinkedIn to Twitter to Instagram, we could put a lot of time and energy and spin our wheels trying to get traction in one of these areas. But for an expert, man, you really can get great results from YouTube. I wish YouTube would pay me to promote them, but I guess they do, right? They pay me when I make the content. And then the only other thought that I had in relation to audio and recording on a podcast and repurposing that on YouTube, the one disadvantage that you have is on audio, you can't show things, right? You can't use a flip chart or show objects. Or let's say you went and you wanted to give a tour around a home and talk about, you know, how to appraise a home or something like that. I mean, you can only talk about it in audio form. And so the things that you can do in video, people like to see those things. It's great to be able to show things. And but you know, going back to the part that you can repurpose, and when in your case where you're filming both, people like to see facial expression, and they, you know, when you can lean into the camera to emphasize the point and stuff like that. There's just so many cool things that you can do with video. But you can't be in your pajamas. You can't like a lot of people, they can record their podcast in their pajamas, no problem. But if you're going to go on video, you gotta put on a nice shirt at least, and you know, clean up and have a nice background and whatnot. So
I could have my pajamas on like below here though, right? Like below.
Right.
Here.
Yeah. You could right now, and maybe I have my pajamas on. You never know.
Or maybe he doesn't have anything on under there. You know? Yeah, let's cut that. All right, my friends. I want to thank all of you for stopping by to get you some Nate Woodbury and to learn a little bit about YouTube and digital marketing. And again, go to 1000houses.com/go YouTube and get your keyword research mini course and your YouTube masterclass out there. And get connected with Nate if you think you want to have a larger, longer discussion. So this is Mitch Stephen with 1000houses.com podcast. I'd like to thank my sponsor, livecom.com, LIVECOMM.com. Go to the homepage and watch what you can use this mass texting resource for. It also has now, you can archive all the conversations from any phone number you choose. They're archived. So if there's a conversation going on that phone number, you can click a button. It has so many features, it's unbelievable. And the next feature coming your way is voiceless voicemail drop. Ringless voicemail drop. So there'll be a ringless voicemail drop to all your clients and I can show you how to use that. And we're gonna be describing how you tie all this together. But it's a very, very interesting concept, and it's probably one of the most affordable mass texting. Well, it is. I know for a fact because we did the research. One of the most affordable mass texting platforms out there. All right. Thanks a lot, Nate. I'll see you later.
Yeah, thank you, Mitch.
Bye-bye.